Paid for by Marjan Philhour for Supervisor 2020. Financial disclosures are available at sfethics.org. Hi, everyone. I'm Marjan Philhour, and I'm really excited to be here today with Yuka Ioroi, who owns Cassava with her husband, Chris, here in the Richmond. We are having a series of conversations with local leaders and business owners because if the past several weeks have taught us anything, it's that now more than ever, we need to come together as a community. And if we act together, we can achieve anything that we set our minds to. So as sheltering in place becomes more of an everyday reality for all of us, I've seen so many individuals and organizations rise to the occasion. And Yuka and her husband, Chris, aren't just local restaurant owners, but they're local leaders as well. So welcome, Yuka. How are you holding up?
We're doing okay. We are seeing our revenue reduce probably by 40%, but we were able to raise so far $14,000 on our GoFundMe to support our staff's lost wages. The community has been really great for us. So given the circumstances, we are doing the best we can, and we are able to keep going at this time for now. Unless it's really deadly in San Francisco, then of course, like our safety, like guest safety, staff safety is number one. But this time we plan to keep operating with the takeout and takeout operation.
No, thank you. I mean, I've noticed so many local businesses have been hit hard. I know our family business has had to close, but it seems restaurants have really been hit particularly hard. And I've noticed that you've done so much to diversify how you do business, including family meals and other takeout that weren't necessarily part of what you offered before. Do you want to talk about that a little bit, about how you've diversified what you offer?
Yeah. A day before the Mayor Breed announced the shelter in place decree, we saw what was happening in New York and Seattle, who was hit ahead of most of the major cities. And then we were expecting that the dining room capacity was cut smaller for larger restaurants. It didn't affect us per se. However, we saw the decrease in business, and we knew that it was going to be a takeout, although we don't offer, but takeout and delivery option only coming soon. So we decided to make the shift. And when we did the a la carte portion, so brunch and dinner, so with a limited menu where people can look at the menu and order, and also offer this family meal for four. So it's a 3-course reheat ready meals that people can order ahead. And that is kind of in place for dinner business per se.
Mm-hmm. So what is the mood like in the kitchen every day? I mean, what's it like for you and your team, operating in this new normal? What's it like every day?
So like the service part, the actual person-to-person service changed a lot. We feel like, this is how it feels like to work in office. All the plates are put away. We're trying to make food look nice in takeout boxes. But we understand that this is the new normal. I don't want to say it like that, but it's going to be like that for a good few months, We see that it's, yes, the papers and the plastic and all these things, it's like, wow, it's like a lot of excess, but then we want to make sure it's safe. It's different, but we're getting orders, and the reception of people have been really, really kind and sweet. Thank you for being open, and then this makes our day, and that kind of things. So we could have personal interaction that way. We take a la carte orders on text, so we have a lot of people's numbers, and we can check up on, like you will go to the table, like, how was your meal? If somebody sends us feedback that, didn't work out, that we can correct it immediately that way. Right. Email and all kinds of communication that's not person to person, but we try to be as available as possible and then reply to all communication that's sent to us within, hopefully within 30 minutes.
Yeah. And that is so apparent online and how you've really adapted to kind of the community has met you and you've met the community where they are to still provide the delicious food and service that you're known for. So you were recently featured in Eater about an experience that you had with your insurance company, you know, giving you the runaround when you tried to file a claim. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So COVID-19 and coronavirus is a disaster that keeps everything intact. It's not flood, it's not fire, it's not vandalism, but it makes businesses unoperable. So their argument is that since there's no physical damage, they don't want to pay for business interruption coverage, which would have, you know, if like during the fire time, I'm pretty sure they paid out for that. You know, like the flood in North Bay, you know, the Russian River flood, that kind of things, you know. So that's their argument, that since there's no physical damage. And I did file a claim, and the claim adjusters called and, oh, is there any physical damage? Is there any place broken? Anything like that? I was like, well, no, but we can't operate. But you don't have any. And then I sent the mayor's decree that was rewarded, saying that the viruses can stay on the surface up to 3 days, thus making business unoperable. Then their response was, okay, so has anybody come from the city and you know, detected any virus in your place, or has any guest filed anything, or has any of your employee got infected? You know, how do you have any proof for that? So, and you know, we don't have anything like that, right? So that was the last communication. We haven't got back to them or anything.
Yeah, so that claim is still pending. This coronavirus has basically paralyzed your business in a way that none of us has seen in our lifetime. And you have insurance for major disasters like this. And so now your claim continues to be pending with the insurance.
Well, I mean, in their mind, it's denied already. I did receive a letter that says denied already. But if I can still reference to the same claim number and they keep the conversation going, because they know what they're doing, you know. They did the same thing during 9/11. They said that terrorism is not covered. And then it was like huge uproar, and then they had to change the laws, and then they have to cover it. But then they started adding the, you know, wording that the, you know, terrorism is not covered, or you have to buy separate like coverage for that, right? So they knew that this is coming, and they're just fighting, you know, as long as they're trying to hold out as long as they can, because once there is a precedent that the one business is covered, they will have to cover every single one of them, which they should. And that's what insurance is for, right? So
yeah. So what is your message to our elected leaders and how they can help you during this time with this policy?
It's really encouraging what Supervisor Mar started, and you know, Supervisor Mar from Sunset. And I think the Board of Supervisors is voting on the legislation tomorrow via Zoom, I think. And so that is good. And I think they're trying to send a message to California Insurance Commissioner, who I learned that has a power to force insurance companies to force pay the claim. Sorry, there's something going right
That's
here.
okay. That's okay.
Yeah. So can you come back 1 second? He was going to Americana to get the food.
Oh, okay. Well, this is great. It's the perfect segue to lead me to my next question around how we can support not just Cassava, but our other local restaurants. I know we've been working together and with Eat Americana and bringing in other local restaurants, but do you want to talk about that program, about how we can support hourly workers in our neighborhood?
Yes. Especially in retail segment, you know, including restaurants, the job loss rate is staggering. You know, all these businesses are forced to shut down, and it's really hard. They have no income all of a sudden, you know. So we are trying to provide meal help. So the program is called Outer Richmond Meal Help, and we started a GoFundMe campaign. And Eat Americana, our neighbor across the street, has agreed to start offering meals at $10. And that's paid by the GoFundMe campaign that we've started. And with the generosity of the neighbors, Outer Richmond has really, really like huge amount of super generous people. I don't really see that at other neighborhoods, but so we were able to raise almost $2,700 in 2 weeks or so. If at $10 per meal, it can be 270 meals.
Yeah, makes a big difference.
Yeah, and then so we've been working with Eat Americana the past week. They distributed maybe 30 meals or so far. We are offering 2 days coming from this week, and we're asking other restaurants in the area to see if they want to participate. Rather than using delivery platforms, which takes 30% or so commission, if your food menu price is, let's say, $12, and then you can do that for $10, yes, there's 30% loss, but it's going to people directly, and you have a cash coming from this program right away. So we thought it was a better economy to create in the neighborhood. Also, these people, I mean, so the unemployment money isn't here. It's not coming at all. It's taking for so long, and some people really don't have any cash to buy food.
Right.
So at least, you know, this program can feed these people.
Right.
But yeah, it's really heartbreaking.
Yeah. No, it is. And you're right. You know, our neighborhood has really shown how we can all come together. I mean, this isn't the first time that this neighborhood has come together, but it's certainly the time that we're all living through together in this moment. And there's a lot of heart and a lot of generosity right here in the Richmond. So my last question to you is just, you know, what inspires you every day? What keeps you going through this crisis?
Because the number one thing is I need to protect the employment here. We have not laid off anybody. We're lucky, I think, because where we are, the location wise, there are a lot of staff that are born and raised in Richmond, or born and raised in San Francisco. They're not as, you know, like pressed for living situations, luckily. So we haven't had we haven't had that kind of problem like all San Francisco restaurants been facing. So they've been okay. So like third of the staff said that, you know, we can just be off voluntary, you know, off for like a couple of weeks. Make sure you just give money to people that need more in our team. But yeah, so that's been working. They have sick pay, other things. But my number one thing is that no, like we need to, because we all work in restaurants. So if we lose this job, we don't have any other restaurants to work at, you know, because all restaurants are having problems, right? So we're like, okay, well, we have to keep it going. So we all have a job, you know?
Yeah, right.
And meanwhile, to deserve the job, we have to keep the quality and service up to our standard, you know? And then because the neighborhood shows such generosity in that short amount of time, we have to make sure that we deserve that support. So we have to keep providing for people that need one, you know, that somebody that, oh, like I can't cook every day. Yes, we have that for you. Or somebody that don't have a food. Yes, we can feed you, you know. So that's our motivation. But yeah, so the inspiration is to keep the jobs, definitely.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much for your leadership and for your energy. And just for everyone listening, please visit Cassava's Facebook page, as well as the Balboa Village Merchants Association Facebook page. We'll have updates on the restaurants that'll be participating and how everyone can support the Outer Richmond Meal Help Program. Thank you, Yuka, for your time today.
Thank you.